Hi, and welcome to Global Professionals in Portugal. My name is Cordelia, and today's guest is Rita Abreu. She is the manager for Vinhos Cortem in Portugal, an organic winery. Rita, thank you so much for being on the show.
Welcome. Pleasure.
So, Rita, can you, first of all, Vinhos Cortem, we met because I went there for wine tasting. It's super cool. Can you tell us a little bit about it and how you came to be there?
Yes, Vinhos Cortem is a beautiful, small organic winery in a village called Cortem, and it's not far from Caldas da Rainha, and it's not far from Lisbon. And we're in a very rural and beautiful valley setting, and we're close to a lot of the tourist attractions like Nazare, Peniche, and so on. So it's a great location.
It was really cool. The building that the winery's in has been a winery for a very long time. So there's winemaking infrastructure from like hundreds of years ago. So you can kind of see how it's evolved, even the natural winemaking process. It's a really neat thing to do if you have an afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to discover orange wine.
Yes, it's just our signature wine here.
Your background is in kind of entrepreneurial pursuits and marketing, right? You didn't come in from like a winemaking tradition. Is that right?
Correct. The beauty of individuals is that same scenario, but everyone's perspective on that scenario is different. I came from very humble beginnings. I started as an event planner and organizing training classes for a big IT company, and it was worldwide. And that then took me to learning about a little bit of marketing. And so I did that for a very long time. I enjoyed it. I love meeting people, and that enabled me to meet lots of people from different countries and different perspectives. And then, I married, I had children, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And then once they were off and onto their thing, I needed to find something that I wanted to do. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I just, this all happened in like globally. Can you share a little bit where you lived as this journey unfolded?
I was born on the island of Madeira in part of Portugal, and to Portuguese parents, obviously. And they immigrated to the UK. And when I was 5, and so I was raised in the UK, and then I was in my late 20s. I moved to Miami, and then I ended up in San Francisco, which I loved.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, that's right. I remember we talked about that. I've been to Huntsville because we lived in Atlanta. Huntsville has the highest concentration of PhDs in the United States.
Yeah. A lot of smart individuals over there.
A lot of smart individuals, and then everybody else.
And then I decided to come and relocate to Portugal. This is my 4th year.
Now, so you're bilingual.
Yes. Well, I mean, I can get by with my Portuguese.
So meanwhile, you're wandering around the world and your life is unfolding. This is a journey many women have, I think, where we sacrifice our careers to take care of our children, which we're happy to do at the time. But then at some point you're like, okay, now what? So that you kind of had that now what moment. And then what did you decide to do?
Well, I decided to go into health and wellness, and so health and wellness in the sense of helping people to lose weight in a natural and healthy way without products and so on and so forth. And I did that for 5 years, and it flew by. It was, again, a lovely, rewarding job. And then once you reach a certain age, life seems to accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to change my pace of life. I had this vision of Europe being able to give me that opportunity. And I initially was going to move to Italy. And then I was there and found it quite difficult. And so my father actually said, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I moved over here and I had this romance of falling in love and
Yeah.
happily ever after in Italy, and it's not the case. And he then suggested, why don't you go to Portugal? You've never lived in Portugal. Maybe you'll enjoy that. And so I arrived, and I my first trip was to Lisbon, and of course it's beautiful, and I wanted to be there. But again, that the opportunity didn't arise, and then an opportunity arose. I came for a visit and landed in Caldas da Rainha, and I just felt so comfortable. I don't know this place, but it feels good. 4 years now, and I haven't regretted. I had this idea that I was going to start health and wellness, continue where I left off in Huntsville, Alabama, for women over 50, and then the pandemic happened. That changed my plans. I happened to be in the village of Vidage at the coffee shop, and a huge amount of people, around, I don't know, 20 people arrived, which is unheard of for the little village.
That is a lot for a little village cafe. Yes.
I was sitting there reading and having my little cup of coffee, and then all of these people arrived, and they were from all over the place, from all over Europe, and they were Americans and Canadians, and they were Asians as well in the mix. And I thought, what is happening? Who would believe this would happen in the tiny little village in Portugal? And so I got curious, and I'm a bit, as my friends would call me, a little outspoken.
You struck up a conversation, obviously.
And I'm like, so I asked the obvious questions. What on earth brought you all together? You're all so varied. And the commonality was that they were coming to Vinhos Cortem to participate in harvest. And I'm like, well, can I tag along? They said, oh, they're lovely people and they need lots of hands on deck. So the more the merrier. So yes, come along. So I went with them and came across this beautiful winery and met Helga and Chris. And so approached them at the end of the harvest. I said, well, I'm just across the valley, and I have time on my hands, so if you need any assistance, I'm willing to come and help. And then he tells me, that's great, but we've just sold the business to a gentleman called Thomas Lindborg. I'm like, and I said, oh, well, that's too bad. And he goes, no, it just means you need to talk to a different person. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. How do I meet him? And he says, don't worry, I'll introduce you. And he did. And I just said hi and so on and so forth. And then, months went by, I didn't hear anything. And then, in fact, the following year, I was harvesting again.
Okay.
And I was harvesting with this lovely lady. And so I was just, talking like I normally do, and telling her, oh, I have to meet this Thomas Lindborg because, I would like a job here. This is so romantic.
Right, of course. It is beautiful, and it seems very romantic at the winery.
Yes. And so I spent the morning with this lovely lady, and then we went up to have lunch, and then she introduces me to Thomas Lindborg, and she happens to be his wife.
Okay.
The universe.
The universe was like, you need to meet these people. And so it obviously went well. And what a great resource. They found somebody who lives there who's so conversant in different languages and globally focused and, able to do a lot of different things.
Yeah. And so it was wonderful. So that was in September. And then I got a call, I don't know, in January, I think, or sometime after to come for an interview, and he and his lovely wife said, well, would you like to manage Vinhos Cortem? I'm like, oh, okay. I spent a year, not only adjusting to the country, but a job that I really didn't have any experience in. But I'm a determined girl.
Yeah.
I am going to do this. This is gonna be great, and I am going to have fun doing it, and I did, and I've learned a lot. Oh my goodness! Again, you never stop learning,
Right.
and it's okay if you don't know things, as long as you have that willpower and that desire to learn and not be intimidated by the fact that you don't know. It's okay, because it's only temporary, because you will know. That's the only way you learn. Throw yourself into the fear, because that will propel you forward instead of shying away from the fear, and because that will hold you back, and you'll never move forward.
Yeah, I mean, anything new is going to feel scary.
Yeah.
And if you are doing something that doesn't feel scary, then it's clearly not a new thing.
Yeah.
And so if you want your life to have new things in it, it's going to be scary. It's just
Yeah.
part of how life works. I love that. So you pitched in and just were naturally yourself, and what a great resource you are for them, and it's a good job for you. So it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
So let me ask you this. What are some of the places that people have come from that you've met at the winery?
I've met lots of people from all over the world. It's amazing. Canadians, Americans from all over the US. I actually, on Friday, I had people from Chile. And what was interesting is he is a winemaker. He has a
Yeah.
winery, and it was beautiful. I mean, he showed me pictures of his
Aw.
winery. And he came and he brought his wine bottle of his own wine to share with us. And he specifically came because he wanted to visit Vinhos Cortem. He was visiting in the Douro Valley, and they came
Mhm.
down and to specifically come to Vinhos Cortem and try our orange wine. For me, I find that thrilling that someone in Chile to come to Vinhos Cortem to try the
Absolutely.
orange wine. I think that's so lovely.
What are some of the other things that like you've really embraced, but that you were sort of surprised by?
Well, the mechanics of the winemaking, I leave that to the winemaker. The challenge that I had was I can't find a better word, but it's bureaucracy is not the right way. It's all the necessary regulations that
Mm.
you have to go through to get your wines approved. That was challenging for me to understand and navigate myself through.
And obviously your knowledge of Portuguese has been essential for you to be able to do that, right? Because you have to read lots of documents and talk to people about how to do stuff, right?
Yes, so I had conversation Portuguese, so and that's what this job has enabled me to do, is to improve my Portuguese, and I'm not going to say that I am eloquent in professional Portuguese, which I am not, but it's nice that the Portuguese who are very professional find it charming that I'm trying to be eloquent with my Portuguese. And then, I'm from the island, so I've been told that in addition, I have an accent from the island.
Oh. What are some of your lessons learned that you could share with whether people who want to have a job here or kind of relaunch life here? What would you say you could share?
What I think is important is don't go into it with the idea of changing them to so that you can feel better or feel comfortable or move faster, and instead change you,
Mhm.
because you're the only one that can control that change. You can't
Right.
change in others. You can only control change in yourself. So if you change your perspective, if you change how you approach things, if you adjust your patience and what's the word? Not wants, but requirements. It's all about adjusting and changing yourself as opposed to where you've moved to. Having immigrated not so many times, but
A few
at least
times. Yeah.
more than two.
Right.
Trust me, bureaucracy is the same wherever you go. It's just a different language, and you are at a different disadvantage. That's it. Sometimes we make it more difficult for ourselves because we haven't understood
Right.
what the requirements are, and then you factor in a different language. But even when I immigrated to the US, there was a lot of bureaucracy there. Everyone
Yeah.
spoke the same language. Well, sometimes.
What do you love about working in Portugal that is like maybe different from other places you might have been?
People are people. I don't see that there is a difference other than they put a priority on family,
Mm.
and that equates to reducing time at work and balancing. And I think they have it right, and we have it wrong. I think Europe in general are this way, and you work to live. You don't live to work. And making money is not their priority. Yes, they would like some money, of course, but their priority really is being at home with family and celebrating and getting together and cooking meals and eating, and that's happiness.
Well, is there any other like parting wisdom or any other final thoughts you have?
Just be true to yourself. Simple is good, and find joy in everything.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. I'm going to take that in for today. So thank you, Rita, so much for being on the show. The winery information is all going to be in the comments or description below. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'd love to hear your global professional experience working in Portugal.